Hello and welcome back again to the most exclusive podcast in the airwaves, Exquisite Conversations. Live with celebrity publicist Nicole and Jordan. Should be here shortly. And your man, none other than the greatness of King Jacob. So we here once again, and we have a special invited guest all the way from Los Angeles, California. None other than, singer, songwriter, Chill Will. What's up, Chill Will? Hi,
What?
Nicole.
Hey.
What's
So,
poppin', y'all?
ain't much, man. So, before we get into who you are, Chill Will, and what you represent, like I said, we have celebrity publicist Nicole M. Jordan, and she's live with us right now. And so I'll let her go ahead and, give her spiel and just connect with her audience as she always does.
Hey everybody. I'm sorry for being a few minutes late. The weather out here in Chicago is horrible. So I couldn't travel in as fast as I thought I could, but I'm here. I'm CEO and founder of Exquisite PR firm, host of Exquisite Conversation, host of Winding Down podcast, Late Night Conversation. And I'm happy to be here. I couldn't wait till we meet you. I was trying to get here early because I wanted to talk to you, but I didn't get a chance to do that. Nevertheless, I'm here right now. I apologize for anyone who was waiting. And let's roll with the show. Tell us about you. Tell us what you got going on. I want to know all about everything. What's happening?
So Chill, before we get into, the whole entertainment business, I want to ask you, man. I think I read somewhere that you survived a sickness, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So you are a cancer survivor. So I want to get into, how you felt when, what was your emotions like? What was you like mentally when you found out when you was diagnosed, and how did you overcome? And did your music play a vital part in your healing process?
Right. Honestly, when I was born, I was burned terribly. Originally when I was born with holes in my brain. I didn't know, but then I had got in a fire. It's a house fire. It burned like my head, my face, my neck, my shoulders. Like I still have like scars on like my shoulder and stuff, and like down my back. So I went through so many surgeries as a baby, reconstructive, and through that process when they was doing like MRIs, it was like I was forming like holes in my brain. So I guess the holes eventually started to like fill up. And going through the surgery process and stuff, they found that I had a tumor that grew. But when I was younger, having the tumor, I don't really remember. I had like 27 different surgeries on my head. Brain surgeries, reconstructive surgery, skin grafts. So it was like, I only really recall like the surgeries I had from like 14 up until just 2 years ago. So like me being younger, I don't know if it really affected me as like a kid. It more so affected my physical looks because I had to like go to school and I couldn't wear hats during the healing process or do-rag. So there was like a process of being bullied to where like I had like scars, and there's a point in time where I had like 200 stitches and staples in my head. And like kids being kids, like us being 14, we don't understand that. So if somebody feels like they can use me as a target to get like heat off of them, that's kind of what they did. So for me, it was more so like I knew I was going through things early in life. It was just that I loved school, and the fact that I was going through something that I had no control over. I think I had to learn becoming a man that stop trying to control shit that I can't control. And I would hurt myself trying to do that. So then that's why I said I come up with this motto like growing up as far as like going through suicide attempts, trying to like control, like I couldn't control what happened to me. I can't control that I got sick. I can't control other people's actions. I can tell people to don't talk about me, but they're going to do it. Like I went through a phase where I went to school. I remember I threw bleach in somebody's face and beat them up real bad because I was in this angry stage of like, I love school, but I hated school because I couldn't go to school not one day without somebody not even knowing what my situation was. It was just, oh, he got stitches, he got scars on his head, he doesn't really got hair on the side of his head. So it was like, that affected me more than actually going through the process. But like the process of having the last brain surgery I had, they had to like relieve pressure. They had like cut my skull open. I think coming out of that, it was terrible because it's just like the pain of it, like going through morphine and that. It was just kind of like I was sitting in this bed with IVs, and then I think the chemo, I kind of got used to the chemo because I got used to cause when I took chemo at first, it was like, how would I describe it? Like, it just felt like razor blades were going through my body at times. And then afterwards, I would be like sore for days. And then like, I would just like binge eat. When I became an adult, when I was dealing with it, I didn't care about my health, my body, my nothing. I was just like, it keeps coming back. So I just kept like eating and not being healthy and not working out versus that's way different now. But it was just like, I think I trained my brain to think that I wasn't worth it. So I allowed to live like I wasn't worth it until I kind of like, I was 15 and one of the nurses, she would get me together about how like me not being in my feelings. So like I had this book where I would just write my feelings and poems and emotions. And originally she was like, you should be a screenwriter or something because your words are so descriptive. You have a way with words. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that. And then she's like, write a book. But then in my mind, I thought writing a book was me going to somebody and telling them, okay, well, this happened to me. You do all the work. It was a lot of stuff that I had to like write, transcripts and stuff I didn't want to do. So like writing music was easy to me. And like Whitney Houston heard the emotion and that was the first voice I heard in music. So like when I heard her, I would be like in the hospital and I would just be like, okay, well, how would Whitney want me to write this record, or how would my emotions be? So like it kind of took that, instead of me trying to hurt myself, because I figured if I cuss people out, if I get on social media and express my feelings, that ain't doing nothing for me. So why not put these words that I'm putting out in the air that's useless right now, put it on paper? So I kind of like, that was kind of like my outlook on how I dealt with everything versus I could have been a mass murderer right now.
Right. So upon that, man, it stuck out to me, man. You had over 20-something surgeries from the time you was a baby up until 2 years ago. And also, man, you keynoted the word bullying. I have worked with a lot of anti-bullying campaigns over the years and stuff of that nature, man. And so, with you going through that bullying, man, is there any type of campaign that you would want to run toward the bullying? Because kids are bullied all the time in school. In this day and age, I don't think that kids that feel like people listen. And I read on the news all the time, a lot of kids either go to school and harm the kid that's bullying them, or either they harm themselves. Yeah. And so how can we change the narrative with this bullying and really open people's eyes and help them understand that this is real and it happens every day?
Yeah. I think my kind of motto with when I was bullying and when I tried to like going through was like, I am trying to start my whole thing of what I call help one, save one. So therefore, in this world, I think that's all I want to do is that if my story or my testimony or my narrative, if it saves one person or if it helps one person from either stop bullying and not being like, why? Because I think a lot of bullies, in my understanding, they're going through shit themselves. And the way they release that is, I'm going to take my pain out on the first person I see. Or and a lot of it, I think, will stem from like immaturity. So in the beginning, when I was bullied, I didn't know how to like handle it at all. I would go home and like schools would be like, and I think the school systems in a way, I'm not gonna fully attack them, but a lot of the ways they like to take that kids will be kids or they're too sensitive or that. And I think at the end of the day, like until you've been through bullying or you've been through somebody kind of like making you feel like, at that time I had stitches in my head. So people made me feel like I was a monster. they made me feel like I didn't deserve to live. And that's how I felt. And I think some bullies kind of look at it and be like, okay, I'm tired. But then other people just kind of like, they don't give a fuck. They love the control. And I think that if bullies can get in their mind that, you know, if they can learn to heal themselves, you ain't got to hurt other people. So like me taking that position as far as anybody that's kind of been through that situation or bullied, I tell anybody like, you know, don't give up and always stand what you believe in no matter what, because every bully is soft at heart. And I feel like for the most part, most bullies, when you stand up to them or you stand your ground or stick your ground and let them know, like, you know, you don't really care, like, as far as their attacks. Because I think once you step up to them, for the most part, for me, it's happened to where, now I'm not going to say go to the extent of what I did, because I was dealing with a lot of stuff. And when I got to that point to where I did throw bleach in somebody's face, it was to the point to where, like, I was fed up with, like, there was like a big group of people who were like doing this and they were really popular, and like the teachers didn't believe me. So that's why I say, like, for me, I want parents of the bullies to be held accountable to how they should be active in their kids' life, just as well as the schooling system needs to be accountable to where if somebody is getting bullied, not to make it feel like, oh, it's just kids will be kids, because there are people out here dying every day, people jumping off of buildings, people shooting themselves in the head, hanging themselves, overdosing on pills, shooting needles in their arm, becoming drug addicts, ruining lives on top of lives, and then doing stuff they're not supposed to, all because of one person can speak out and not have the bystander effect by saying, oh, I thought you were going to say something. I thought you were going to say something. I thought he was going to say something. And now we got all these useless lives being killed or hurting and harming themselves because of, excuse my language, ignorant assholes.
So, Ms. Jordan, is there anything you may want to add to the bullying that's going on back in the day and up until now? And will you be willing to get on an anti-bullying campaign so we can raise awareness?
Absolutely. I'm definitely a huge part of anti-bullying. I myself was bullied, so I definitely understand what that feels like when you're in that line and you're the last one to be chosen because they don't want you to play on the team, or you can't run fast enough, or you're too heavy, or so on and so forth. So I definitely understand what that feels like. In addition to the kids today, they have no filter, none. And I mean, it's just like no holds bars. But before I entertain that, when did you find out that you were cancer free?
It was October 2019, I believe.
Wow.
It's fresh. Okay.
Wow, it's fresh. So you are freshly cancer free.
Yeah.
Wow. So are you still going back and forth to the doctor, finding out, if you are there any tumors left or things of that nature?
Yeah, they've burned off like 94% of the last tumor that I have. So at this point, they're exploring medicine routes, which has been really great right now. I don't have to do like chemo or nothing anymore. I'm happy with that. So at this point, they've just been monitoring what I have left, and it's been slowly like shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. The last little piece that I have left in the back of my head. So like now it's just been, I have changed my diet, my lifestyle completely. So like I still get MRIs every 90 days for the doctor to check, like every 90 days. I think for the next year, he said he's going to continue doing that, at least until it's completely gone. But other than that, like I think I've never felt like more energized, more better. Like I definitely can tell the way my body feels now is completely different from, because there's a span for like 4 years where I was healthy, and then my tumor came back, and then everything kind of like fell down the drain. But I think at that time, I was writing for Kalani at the time, and I was always like out in the club drinking. Like my lifestyle at that time was hectic. It was, it was a party scene. It's LA. And, when you're with an A-lister and everything is free, liquor is free, you just kind of indulge in, everything that's being handed to you, all the love that you're getting. So I think that played a big role in me getting, even though I may want to say, oh, no, it has nothing to do with it. But I definitely feel like, don't get me wrong, I love my Hennessy. But it's very toxic for your body to drink every day.
You gotta laugh. I understand. I don't understand that way, but I do hear you. I do hear you.
So upon that, you said that you had to change the nutrition that you put in your body.
Yeah.
And so what was that change like for you? And could you just give us like an idea on like, say if I don't know how many meals you eat, say what are two of the meals that you eat per day? And how does that give you balance, with the health issues that you had in the past?
It was hard. I'm gonna tell you, it was hard. It was like Chris Rock in New Jack City about to hit that crack again hard. Like it was hard, because my diet was high in sugar, high in salt. So at first I tried to go completely vegan, and then my nutritionist was like, no, you can't go. You have to gradually ease yourself into it. So from that, like the first thing I did, because I would drink like 4 2-liters a day. Like I was killing Dr. Pepper was my best friend. I love me some Dr. Pepper. So like I haven't drunk literally in like almost 2.5, almost 3 years. I have not drunk soda. I do drink juice, but I like water. I'll get juice and empty half of it out in another container and then fill it up with water. So like I'll water it down completely. What I did what I learned is plant-based products was my best friend. Now all of them weren't good, but I had to find, like my doctor was saying, find the ones that you like. Cause like Morningstar, oh my God, they make the corn dogs are plant-free. They made like beets and stuff. They're really, really good. They got like chicken patties, and like the Morningstar chicken patties and the spicy chicken patties, to me, they taste just like chicken. At first I could tell it wasn't chicken, but like when I ate them, I think for anybody trying to change their diet, the easiest thing I learned was like the first 2 or 3 months, I ate the same thing. It was always the vegan chicken patties. I was broccoli, cauliflower, celery, asparagus, because they was low in calories, basically water. Like those are my best friends. And then I just learned like the hardest was training my brain not to get that sugar or eat that food after 8 p.m. because I'm a recording artist and I'm always on the road. So like sometimes we're leaving an event or hosting 3, 4 in the morning, and we really ain't ate all day, and it's like, damn, I gotta eat. And laying down on all that, it's like everything is going down to my stomach. So like that was me. Like one thing that I learned that helped me, it wasn't so much that, oh my God, I've eaten junk food for 10 years, I can't change. You can. You just got to train your brain. Once you train your brain to get on that cycle of, or make my body feel like, oh shoot, it's 3 p.m., I'm hungry, and then I don't eat again for another 4 hours, my body will be hungry only at those times. That way I'm not like eating chips or my Snickers or my Gushers. Because listen, I would get like, the big family pack of Gushers. I would buy that box, set it down with my PlayStation, and that box would be gone in 20 minutes. Extremely bad for me and my teeth. So like that was just my thing. Like I trained my brain. Once I trained my brain, that's why I tell people like you can do it. Cause I thought I was like hell, like scratching. I thought I was on crack or something the way I tried to transition. But like once I transitioned that first month, it was just like boom. Yeah. But I learned to like, and like I said, when you work out, you learn to, I guess they say you can have snack meals every 4 weeks. Like you can eat a meal you're not supposed to, as long as you're not like overdoing it or consistently do it. Like you can have a bag of chips, you can have like a candy bar. You just can't eat them like every day. So.
Right. Okay.
I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of the fact that you are even able to, from a childhood up until now, be able to withstand that and still conquer all obstacles.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because like I'm a bartender here too. So like I smell soda all day and I just be wanting to, oh my God, that orange crush looks so good. But I'd be like, nah, I'm cool. Because once I drink it, I'm going to go back to drinking it.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So with with the music and everything and the vibe, how does that make you feel?
Okay, listen, right. I'm gonna be a bully about it.
I completely love it. Like with my music, like my greatest thing in music for me is that I'm able to like sit down and write my feelings and write my emotions, and then when I go in the studio and record it, and then when I play, like sometimes I'll sit at home and just play my album or my EP, and like
Mhm.
that's the greatest thing for me, knowing that I put all this effort in, I put weeks and months in these records, and this is the fruits of my work. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to sell music. I want to be popular name in music, but like my greatest achievement isn't that I've penned records for probably 3 of the top R&B people in the game. It's just the fact that some people are either too scared, too timid. They don't think that they can. And it's the fact that you can sit down and put your music together or ask help to do it. And the fact that I took the time to do it and I invested in myself, importantly invested in myself. And I just didn't say, oh, well, nobody's going to let me come record in their studio. I can't make music. The investment of it is, especially beginning as an artist, there's so much money I have to put into it to make myself be around the people that help me sound the best that I can be. So like my proudest moment in music is the fact that I can listen to records that I wrote and say, I did this, or I went through, like when we recorded the Scars EP, well, the current project that I'm filming, I recorded a record called Scars. That was the first record I opened up about my tumor, my surgeries,
Mhm.
everything that I went through. And like, it was the hardest time recording that with my guy Larry, because I was in the studio going in, opening up wounds that I didn't know that I was ready to open up, but I had to. I had to get my audience to know who I am. So I would be like in the middle of a session talking about having 27 surgeries, and I would be having a meltdown crying. And then my engineer had to be like, bro, he's like, I don't think you can finish the session. Let's wrap it up, regroup, come back in 2 days. And I would come back, have another meltdown at another part. And then I would just have to learn how to like hone that emotion into my records. And I never thought when I was 14 that I could be coming in the studio doing this, but you know, I made it happen, and I made
Well,
sure I was
well,
persistent.
chill. You
And
know, man, those are the best songwriters, bro. The songwriters who channel that emotion and those tears
yeah,
and they put it on the pen, bro. They use the pen to put it on the paper, man. Those are some of the most phenomenal songwriters, and I just can tell you this right here. I was watching a Temptations documentary, and we was they was talking about Lim, the dude that used to write all the songs for the
yeah,
Temptations, and and how he would take somebody else's emotions and put it on the pen and paper. And so when you able to take yours and somebody else's, and you able to write for A-listers, you know that just says a lot about your talent as a songwriter. So I salute you for sure.
thank
So let's talk about you being from the Midwest and you becoming a songwriter. So as you begin to do reference tracks and submit them to artists. So what was your very first reference track that you got, you know that you got some notoriety in the music industry for?
you. Said which one was my first one?
Yeah, yes.
My first one was for Brandy on her Human album. It was first in the record is called First in Love.
Hmm.
Yeah, when I did that record, I did. She changed it. Brandy came in and they changed it a little bit. But when I initially wrote the record, it was on YouTube, and I didn't know because I'm like in school, and then I get an email while I'm in school. It was from Sonia Norwood, her mother, and said that they were looking on my YouTube. My records are pretty nice. Are they references? Are they what? And at that time, I didn't know what a reference was. I didn't know like none of that. I just knew I was making records. So when I started working
Uh-huh.
with a songwriting coach and they were like letting me know about how to successfully started writing songs, that was the first time that I was like, wow, somebody wanted to work on my record. Now, I won't indulge on how much I got paid. It wasn't a lot for that record. But yeah, when we sat down, they flew me to LA and we sat down, heard the record, and we just kind of like, we did it. And it was awesome. And then from that point on, that night I had went out with them and they had like introduced me to like a whole bunch of people. And what I learned in this game is that, yes, I wanted to be an artist, but if you look at like, even if you look at like Babyface, The Dream, Neo, like how many people, even Trey Songz wrote a couple records, like a lot of the songwriters in the game, you know, a lot of our big artists in the game, they were behind the scenes penning records for years. And, you know, I kind of was like, there's more money in writing the record. So when I found that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna write. But I love the tension. I wanted to be in the forefront eventually. So yeah, so when I got that first thing, I had like so many people like replying to me, and I really couldn't write all these records at once. But when I had people coming at me at that time, were like, "Oh, you're a new writer." Especially when I was in LA, I was a new writer. Everybody kind of wanted to talk to me, or at least see what I was about, or what kind of records I could do. So from that point on, I kind of targeted who I wanted to work with, and then that's when I kind of got linked with. At that time, Ray J was dating Tierra Marie. So then me and Tierra Marie linked. She was from Detroit. I was from Ohio. We kind of like hit it off because of that. And then I kind of just took off like writing for her and other people. And then I would just go and find an artist. I was like, okay, well, let me sing this record, which as a reference, I would sing it in how their style, how they would sing it. And then I was just kind of picking and choosing who I wanted to kind of like work with. And I was sending records out. And then, you know, I got one thing I guess I want to say for like a lot of artists that are songwriters. I don't want people to think that every placement I sent out, listen, it was a point in time where I was sending out 400 and 500 references a day, like 5,000 emails a week. And I was getting 5,000 no's. And eventually, out of me being so consistent in sending them out, you know, I kind of touched base with the Chris Brown situation, the Kalani situation, the Tyrese situation, with Lil Mo, Mario. So like eventually people was being like, oh, isn't that the cat that was, you know, I was building my connection, and they was kind of like, oh, that is him. Let's really check out his music. Then the yeses started to happen. So it's like, I don't like, a lot of times I think some artists make it to believe, oh, I recorded a record, put it out, and it became a hit, and I ain't never heard a no, which in my reality going through it in the business, I've heard a lot of no's, 5,000 no's a month, but I didn't give up.
Well, it's funny you say that, man. I've been in this business for a long time, man. I started this business in probably before some of the young cats was born. I started this business in 1997, and I was doing street team promotions and club promotions. I had a partner who used to work for DreamWorks Records. And upon working with DreamWorks, he had a job to do for the street promotions and the club promotions, and that job was you familiar with the rapper Noriega, right? Nori, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was on his very first tour, the What tour. I was on that very first tour doing all the flyers, going to all the radio stations throughout the DMV area, that's DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So that was my area, you know. And I met a guy that was a mentor because I relocated to Florida. I met a guy that was a mentor to me by the name of Charles King. His sister was a songwriter for Slip and Slide. She wrote for Flo Rida. She wrote for Pitbull. She wrote for Pretty Ricky. She wrote for a lot of people. And he mentored me on the artist management side. And so with the artist management side, I think that's the most toughest side in the music business.
Yeah.
No, don't let nobody fool you. If you are a young man or a young woman and you manage artists and you one person managing 5 or 6 artists, that's like trying to pull teeth from a bear. You need a management team when you have multiple artists. And so with the songwriting, I know some phenomenal songwriters. But the thing about this, since you've been in this business, man, you definitely have the access to become a songwriting coach. You
Yeah.
know, because a lot of people write dope material, but they don't know how to get into the business as songwriters.
Yeah.
You know, I hear Neo say that he didn't know how to get into the business for years, but once he finally got into it, he understand how to maneuver. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so, as far as you, man, so you said you wrote for Kalani, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so with you writing for Kalani, man, so you was in the studio with her as well?
Yeah. When I
Oh,
first met her, I met her at a Amber Rose through like a slut walk. It was what she called slut walk. She did every year. It was like women empowerment. And I
hmm
had met her right before she was recording Sweet Sexy Savage. And then her and her at that time she was with her girlfriend. And you know, we kind of met and we hit it off backstage. So we kind of went to the strip club, kick it. You know, I played her some of my records and that next day we were basically at her house and just we were singing together, coming up with vibes and harmonies, and we kind of just started penning records. So when we just did her last project, she really only wanted to work with close people that she knew could channel certain emotion as she went. So like this last project, we kind of were just at the house, and there was one point in time she had us spend the night for like a whole week, wouldn't let us leave. So, she was like, "Nope, y'all not going nowhere. We just gonna create music, eat good food. We out by the campfire." So it was like, but it's that atmosphere, that vibe that helped us create even better music. It was the chemistry of it. It wasn't so much
hmm
like you are who the person you're working with, but like we were able to develop organic emotions in records, organic harmonies, organic chords, organic ad libs. So it was like it was to me it was a dope process because it helped me become a better artist because I had never my idea before working with her was booked in the studio, sitting in the studio, making sure everything was going smoothly with the record, how to attempt a certain record or ad lib. It was like all professional, and her approach was more so personal, and it made us comfortable. Like it made us love working with her because she's such a humble, awesome, great person. So
Okay, okay. So upon working with her, man, you work with Brandy, you work with Kalani, and um, what type of males have you worked with in the industry? As far as
I recently just worked with Breezy. 'Cause I've been trying
oh,
to work with him for a minute. Like I have been sending him references for probably 5 years, and they have not been getting looked at. Breezy. I did a record with Mario, Lloyd, and there was another guy we worked with, but I don't think he was as big. But Breezy is probably was like my top. But like when I got the placement with Breezy, it wasn't like I sent the record out and they liked it, we're gonna do it. It was more so they heard the record and then because I had met him, somebody introduced me to him at a party at Memorial's Day. Well, him and Tyga had a party. So I had kind of already planted the seed. So when they figured out that's who my record was, they brought me in and we were at his house in Tarzana and the way he picks songwriters sometimes, it's like throwing 10 lions in a cage and one steak. And you gotta
okay,
kind of he'll like put beats out there, or I want you guys to work on this beat, y'all to work on this beat. It'll be like groups of songwriters and it's kind of Royal Rumble, last man standing, the best records. But sometimes he'll pick 3 writers on the same record and say, well, I like what you did on this, I like what you did on that, I like what you did on this, and this is what I want to add to it, which is when we wrote the Indigo record for the title album of Indigo. That's kind of how it did. It was 4 writers on that record that he liked everything that we did, and we kind of like just pushed forward from that.
okay. So upon that, man, I would love to see you write something for my man Black Bear. For real, for real. Um, are you familiar with his music?
I don't think so. You said Black Bear?
Yeah, he
Yeah, I
dope.
don't think
Yeah. You check him out, man. He's worked with Gucci. He's worked with Mike Parson. He's worked with a lot of different cats, man. He out there in L.A. You know what I
okay.
mean? He out there in L.A. So he dope. So um, did you ever do any reference tracks for Tyrese?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did it. We did a couple for Tyrese.
Okay. So how did that go?
Um, because at the time he was in like I think when we sent the references at the time he was heavy back and forth with the singing and acting. But I think at that time that's when Transformers was taking off. It was the third movie I think.
Right.
At the time I don't really know like because I don't think we got that specific placement only because I know he was working on so much stuff at that time with his acting and singing, and there were specific records, I guess, that he only wanted to work on, only because, like, I don't know, like his management at the time. Um, I think that when they were doing faster, they were trying to go on the route of making faster records, and I felt like me doing a slower record for him would have got it easier, but I think it was just that point in time that where their point was that they were looking for like more like club records because he's always been known to do like ballads, and I think he was trying to get more club records out. So at that time, like we were sending references out to him that were like ballads and slow records and like sex music.
Right. So never had a chance to work with Trey Songz?
You said what?
Never had a chance to work with Trey Songz?
No, I met him a few times, but I never really got the chance to like work with him at all.
Okay, cool. So enough about artists that you wrote for. Let's talk about your music. And let's talk about, um who people kind of compare you to, or what type of writing style that you have, or like what is your whole like vibe in LA, your whole movement when if people hear a record they was like, oh, that's chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think my biggest thing lately I've been hearing because I was fresh from writing with Breezy is that everybody says I sound like Chris Brown. I don't hear it. My engineer doesn't hear it. But like even when I submit my music for reviews and people hear my music or people that love Chris Brown, they're like, oh my God, I love you. Because you sound just like Chris Brown. I'm like, I think I have runs in certain tones that go up in inflections, maybe. But I don't think I sound like him, and my engineer and the people that work with me, they get why people say that, but I don't think so. But like,
but see, it's a difference when people are just listeners, and then when you got people who have an ear for music.
Yeah.
Like some people are just naturally just going to be fans, but really don't have an ear for music. And when I say have an ear for music, they can tell you what key you singing in. They can tell you what type of octave you should hit on the bridge. They can tell you when you should run, when you should not run, or they can tell you just when the bridge break down, this is when you go ahead and take them to church. You know what I mean? Like those are the people who really have an ear for music. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So okay. So with that being said, man, um, how many projects are you working on right now, as far as for yourself?
Well, right now I'm working on my main project. I just finished Scars, which is out right now. I dropped that like 3 months ago, I think. Yeah, like 3 months ago. Right now I'm currently like working. My vision for this next project is called Messy, I guess, because I keep hearing that a lot. So I figure why not take this, what I guess the facade is, and create a project out of it. And ultimately, I'm writing like kind of like this short story, kind of like shorthand TV show called Messy, because I feel like in reality, the reason why I say that is because I've been through a lot. My life isn't dull. Like I've shit happens to me all day. But like I feel like sometimes when you're in the truth, or when I'm creeping with somebody, or if I'm sneaking around, or whether I'm just telling my truth in reality, people tend to say you're messy because you're telling the truth. No,
Yeah.
I'm not. Like if I put my truth to the forefront, and in reality, I life is messy. Let's just put it out there. Life is hard. Life is messy. Let's just get it out the way. So it's just like for me, every day, like I tell people, like when I see things every day in life, like when I see people arguing, when I see people cussing, if I see a hooker giving up something in the back of the alley. I want to watch what I say. Giving up something special in the back of the alley. That's my soundtrack to every movie, every TV show, every song that I write. Like these are my lyrics every day. So the way that I view world like when I see stuff every day. Like some people catch me staring at them, not because that I'm a stalker, I'm weird, but because I'm creating a dialogue in my head to a song, to a movie, to a TV script, because I'm a writer. That's what I do. So like, yeah.
Right, right.
Like, this messy project, I'm taking my absolute time to perfect this because I feel like if I do it right, I feel like it's gonna be an amazing project because I want to take something like a negative. Like on my last project, people would call me weird. They would call me a weirdo. Or even in school, people call me a weirdo. So I took that song Weirdo and say, hey, I'm weird. That's a badge of honor. I don't give a if I'm weird, I'm gonna be the finest, prettiest, most successful, weirdest person in the world. And y'all gonna be like, oh, I want to be weird too.
You're right, man. You're right there, cause I be having some crazy thoughts about like short films or like a TV series. Like I had, this was some time ago, maybe like 9 months ago, man. I was writing in my little notebook, man, and I came up with a title and just started writing some lines, and the name of the series was gonna be called The Gigolo You Can't Resist.
Yeah.
Crazy, bro. When I say crazy, man, just crazy, man, and it was like, because I know people just like that. No matter how many chicks they talk to, and no matter how mad these chicks get with them, they just can't resist them. They don't tell these dudes no. And I'll be like, yeah, all right then. So
Yeah.
as I'm watching this, man, I'm just brainstorming, and then, a lot of times with songwriters, just like I listen to this dude named K John, and K John got a song called The Ocean. It's like one of my favorite tracks by him, man. And he just talk about, the peace of mind he get there out there away from the world beyond the sea. What'd you say?
Isn't it like a reggae record?
No. He's actually a singer. He actually an R&B singer. He's like a soulful R&B singer. You know what I mean? He actually from LA.
Okay.
And he just talk about when he get peace, his ship is gonna come in. So it's a really dope record, man. So I like real peaceful joints, but I can do messy too. Because the messy joints keep you in the loop with the people that that wake up in the morning. That's the first thing they're gonna do is have that messy joint, all across their subwoofers in the room. They're gonna be playing the messy joint, and so you already know that you gotta make messy records, for them people who always talking about, I want to get it popping right now. You know what I mean? So yeah. So you gotta make them joints for them dudes be like, hey man, I like her cause she popping, bro. What you think? You know what I mean? So with that being said, you gotta make the messy records. I can appreciate that, but now you a songwriter. So do you write in all different sectors of music? Like, like R&B, neo soul, gospel, hip hop, country, jazz, blues. Do you write in all different sectors?
Everything. Because on my EP Scars, the Scars record is actually like an infused record with like rock and roll and R&B. Like that's why I think the record is the most different record that I've ever done in my life. And I think that's why when we were in the studio, and I play electric and acoustic guitar. So we were in the studio, he was playing the beat, and I plugged in the electric, and I was kind of like, okay, I can kind of like, as a musician, play along with my engineer and say, okay, let's add this plug-in, let's add this, versus like, I don't know, I think that's what makes me organic, because like, a lot of people will say, oh, go find me a guitar like this and digitally make it, versus some of the greatest music come from an artist coming in that can play an instrument already, or they bring in a musician already that can say, plug this in, record this sound, play it naturally, and then we can loop it and add it or chop it up how we want to. Versus that.
So hold up. So you said you played the acoustic and electric guitar.
Yeah.
So upon playing the electric guitar, are we talking about the rhythm, the lead, or the bass?
You said, what was that again?
Are we talking about the rhythm, the lead, or the bass guitar? Which one do you play?
Did you hear me?
No, I didn't hear you.
I said the rhythm.
Oh, you play the rhythm. Okay,
Yeah.
then. Okay. All right. Now, so this kind of lets me know, why you can pick up a Chris Brown track, or why you can, do a Mario remake.
Yeah.
Or why you can do a cover for like an Eric Benet or somebody like that. So that's why I asked you why you played the rhythm, the lead, or the bass.
Yeah,
So
because I go to Musicians Institute here in Hollywood, a music school, a very known music school here. So like even before, when I was just singing like, because when I was going through my struggle, like especially when I was being bullied and stuff, I was like in the closet, like listening to like Whitney, Otis Redding, Marvin Gaye, Keith Sweat, like Usher. Like I was listening to it at that. And then when I knew that I could sing, because the first time I learned I knew that I could sing, I didn't really know that I could sing. Like I was in the car and Jay-Z and Beyonce did that remix of that Tupac song, Bonnie and Clyde. And then when Beyonce part came up, I thought it was my jam. I was in there singing it. And then now don't talk about me, y'all. At that time, it was the disc inside the CD card. Now they'll read you if you talk about you got a disc player in your car.
Right.
And that's the CD was scratched. And it stopped and they heard me singing and everybody turned around and was like, who was that singing? I looked at them like, I don't know, Beyonce.
Yeah.
So at that point, my guy was like, bro, I'm getting you in the studio. I'm getting you with a coach. Like, you can sing for real. And I'm like, I don't think I can sing. So that was like
but the thing about that, Chill, is what we don't hear, other people hear, because I remember talking to an executive back in the day that did some promotional things for Drew Hill. You know what I mean? I was talking to a manager that was a promotional manager for Drew Hill, and he told me that when he made the thong song, the thong song was a joking song between them. She got that thong. You know what I mean? So it was like a joking song between the fellas. And then, the management team messed around and put it in somebody's hands. And man, it was playing throughout every club in Maryland, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Connecticut, Boston, and New York. And so that's how the thong song blew up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just off the club DJs. Because the radio wasn't no part of it at first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was a thong song, man. Pumps in the trunk. Like guys like what? So all night long. So the radio thought it was too explicit. Because you have the radio, back then it was a family thing with the radio, man. So you had a lot of families that listened to the radio during the car ride. But once they hit the clubs and they just started calling Cisco, be like, hey man, this record a hit, man. So it was, but it started out as a joke though. Yeah. Like he didn't even want to record the record. They didn't want to push the record at all, bro. So a lot of records that artists record that they say are garbage. Actually, executives and the public, I see it can go in a certain type of market because there's a market for everything, man. Just like if it don't hit in LA, you might send it to a DJ coalition that's down south in Atlanta. And that's like 30,000 DJs in one coalition. And so they might put their record in rotation amongst all the DJs. And this record wasn't even dope in LA like that. You know what I mean? But it's dope down south.
Yeah.
So I tell artists all the time, you got to push your records in different markets, man. You definitely got to test the waters like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So man, so before we close out, I just want to see what can we expect from you. And one last thing before we close out, I also want to see, is there any up and coming film roles that you have, or have you submitted any of your music to music supervisors and things of that nature, man? So what can we expect from you?
Well, of course, I'm working on, the new project that I'm working on. I've been in secrecy for a while. I know I haven't been on social media for a while because I've been secretly filming this major project with a really big network. I can't really indulge in too much information, but I can say that it is following my journey and things that you could expect to see me in the future, as far as like my music, what I've been through. But when I'm able to like talk about that, I would love to come back during
Yeah,
promo.
man. I was just gonna say, chill, man. Let's keep in touch, man. I was talking to like my mentor down in West Palm Beach, and we was talking about getting a group of artists and servicing some of their records, man. And so what we're trying to do, man, is we trying to take a whole group of artists to certain labels, and and every time we take 10 or more to the label, they gonna have to cut us a check for 50 million or more for facts, bro. And got a few people that's been in the industry for 30 years that's kind of like stand on top of it with us. So yeah, man, let's keep in touch, man, and congratulations on getting picked up by a major network with this acting, man. That's a blessing, man, bro. You've been through a lot and you overcame every obstacle, and you just serving your purpose, man. Your music is your healing, and as you heal, you help inspire others, and so we have to inspire to stay inspired. So you know what I mean. So with that being said, I want to say shout out to your management team. Shout out to all the people that keep you booked up, and shout out to my girl Ashley for like making that connection and plugging me.
I want to say really amazing because like, even though I have an agent and a PR person, like I do all this with no manager. So like it's gonna be even better once I finally decide with who I want to manage me. But like it's been amazing because I've learned to like, I guess, do things now if you don't really need a manager. But like once I get to the position to where like I feel like management, I do feel like I'm seeking management. So y'all out there,
Okay. So most definitely, man, most definitely. But this is what I'm gonna tell you, bro. I'm gonna tell you like this right here, man. There's a lot of old school artists that's looking for new records. I'm gonna put out on there. I'm gonna name a few. Case, Carl Thomas, Deborah Cox, RL, Lil G from Silk. Usher gonna be looking for placements on his new project when it come out.
But Lil G's the bald-headed one, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's my guy.
Yes, and just to put a bug in your ear, Wanye Morris has 5 boys, man, that's talented, and he's going to be looking for writers for them, man, because they're going to be dropping a project soon, and all of them is badass, just like him. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, so all of them can sing, so man, but yeah, it's a few industry heads that's looking for projects, man, and I know that SWV is trying to put some out again, so they're gonna be looking for projects as well as man, as well as In Vogue, man. You know what I mean? They gonna and Lucy Pearl from In Vogue is definitely looking for writers to work with. Her and Raphael Sadiq.
Oh yeah, I want to dance tonight. Hey,
yeah, man. So man, but man, I appreciate you coming through, and I appreciate you, blessing us with your story, and I appreciate you encouraging others, bro, because your story is remarkable. So, I need to know, man. that
wanna like
when are you thinking about writing a movie about your life and how you overcame? Not even a
call
movie,
me.
man, but
A
Movie.
book.
Oprah, call me. Tyler Perry, Dick Daniels. Listen. I'm easy to work out with. Whatever. Let's do it. Let's
Let's
sign.
go.
But
okay,
I do
okay.
before I leave, like I just want everybody to know watching this. I just want to leave you with this last thing because it's really important to me, and I feel like I live my life by this, and I want you to live your life by it too. I cannot teach people how to give up. I can only teach you how to fight, and that's going to be my story moving on. I'm always going to teach people how to fight because if I give up, I'm teaching other people how to give up. So with that being said, let them know the Scream tour. Can I get on the next tour or what? Like,
Like, let me in.
Word. So man, I appreciate you coming through, and Ashley will be in touch with you, and we'll try to get some things going.
All right, bet.
All right,
All
nice
right,
meeting you. Well, I know I chimed in a little bit late, but I'll be talking to you soon.
All right,
all
you know
right,
you
all
got
right.
the IP, so hit me up.
I
Peace
got
and
you. I got
blessings.
you. Have a good night.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Peace.